1:30 last night.
Just the happiest man in town, Carlo Colaiacovo. Welcome to NHL Puck Props with absolute stud legend Birdie. What's the line? Your hat?
Oh, Bang Birdie.
Bang Birdie. There it is. We'll get a Bang Birdie plug in there. Golf is around the corner.
I got new ones coming out.
Apparently, those guys didn't want to score points last night, even though Detroit somehow. Detroit, Colorado has 2 goals in regulation.
Yeah. It was a sour night for me. I'm in a bad mood this morning for a couple reasons. I had to work that Montreal game, which was painful to watch. Then I stayed up till 1:30 because I was watching the Maple Leafs game. And then to top it off, I went 0-5 in my picks yesterday, which included 4 of the ones that we suggested. So I'm in a bitter mood today. So which means,
which is the 4th one, the 3 players and the over in Boston.
Yeah, and then I had Kucherov 1.5.
Oh,
that was my favorite.
You didn't take Matthews to score.
No,
you didn't take Detroit money line at plus money.
No.
And you didn't take Lafreniere, who cashed in the first period.
No, I took the Vancouver first period game because I'm like, Vancouver 3 games in a row.
Tell me, you took him on the 2-way and not. Did you?
No, I took him minus a half plus money.
No.
So David says it's sour night for him as well. Let's get back to winning and grinning. I love that. I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt. Let's get back to winning and grinning because that's what makes it fun. 100%.
Absolutely. So good morning to everybody. Ryan Innes, David, Darren, folks, and anybody else there listening Friday live. Let's go 3-game slate.
What do we want
people that are Sports Interaction?
What do we want people that are watching us to do, Josh?
What's that?
Like and subscribe.
Wow, look at this guy. This guy's a pro. Don't forget to smash that like button.
Smash it.
Yeah.
Smash it.
There he is. Mix like finally they do it before we get to the picks. But if you're watching, we'll recap all the plays at the end. Give us a little thumbs up for the work here. Buffalo, Columbus. Dad's trip is still going. Dad's trip is still going. We sweated out the Buffalo 3-way money line in Montreal for plus 120. Now we're getting plus 110. Still taking it. Still taking it. Buffalo to win in regulation on the road. Dad's trip, like I said, it will finish today. The Sabres have won 4 straight games on the road and are 6-1 in their last 7 on the road. But this is my favorite part of this. This is an absolute ugly schedule spot for Columbus.
No kidding. That's what I'm looking at right now.
Talk to me about playing in LA on Tuesday, playing in Anaheim on Wednesday, and then home Friday. This is their 3rd and 4.
Not good.
LA and Anaheim.
Yeah, when you suggested this game today, I'm like, wait a minute. Columbus was just in Anaheim 2 days ago. So now they're at home right away.
And then I looked into that, and then I'm like, oh my God, they're in Anaheim when we were doing the show on Wednesday. Yeah. Oh, and they played LA on the Tuesday.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. Very, very tough one. So yeah, let's go with Buffalo because of the bad schedule spot, and most importantly, why? The Dad's trip. Yes. What was that record you shared last show on Wednesday?
It was from an article from the St. Louis Reporter saying that like over the last 4 seasons, the Mums and the Dad's trips was 10-2 for a team that was probably played 500 hockey over the last 3 years.
Okay, but every team does a Dad's trip, so that's what, 90%?
That's for them, but like we talked about some of the other teams we saw have some success. Someone said Vancouver did the Dad's trip, but that was the Seattle, Colorado schedule. Like the schedule spot was awful. Like Vancouver having to go to Colorado in altitude on the second of a back-to-back was a very tough spot. But I don't know. There's lots of it. I mean,
so would you say that the stat that you came across that it would be?
That was just for St. Louis.
Oh, just for St. Louis.
Yeah, I don't have the stats across everybody's.
Okay, you should find that. You're good at
Do you know how
finding
much
that
digging that would take? No, I shouldn't.
You're good at finding that stuff.
No, because I'm dumb and I'll spend an hour just looking.
Yeah,
for
you
markets.
will. 100%.
I will not. No, thank you. Buffalo, 3-way money line. Let's move on. Winnipeg, Chicago. Back on the Gabe train. Let's go. Gabe Vilardi over 2.5 shots on goal. We got this at plus 140 on Wednesday. That's insane, but it still deserves to be more. This is as short as minus 110 in some spots. Even money here at Sports Interaction. This should be, I mean, the guy had 4 shots on goal in his 3rd straight game. He's got 9 points in those 3 games, or 8 points in those 3 games since the promotion. His time on ice is up 2 minutes. Winnipeg is happy with the way the top 6 is going. This is what it's going to be. I believe Nick Ehlers wasn't at practice yesterday, but that would put Aaron Iafallo on the second line, so it doesn't do anything to Gabe. And in this situation, we've talked about it, the Chicago offense is getting better, which will keep Winnipeg's offense engaged, hopefully. It won't be looking at like a 3-0 lead where Winnipeg kind of just stops rolling out the big boys. Mm-hmm. Peter Mrazek's kind of coming back down to where Peter Mrazek should be. And for a team that has been snake bitten as much as Winnipeg with their shooting percentage, now that the offense is finally rolling and coming around, is there any reason not to expect the same production? We talked yesterday about confidence and what was the word? Oh, contagious. Kind of the same spot here for Winnipeg and Vilardi, who's lighting it up.
Yeah, I mean, look, we were on the Vilardi train when Connor got out of the lineup earlier. Now that Connor's back, he's been on fire again. And maybe it's because he's playing in more of an limited role that's probably favors his skill set. But, you know, Winnipeg has been sort of trying things out here, right? I mean, they've been experimenting with different things because they've got new additions. Obviously, Connor coming back and Monahan finding his fit in this lineup. And I think over the last 2 games, you have to say at least that he's finding his way. He's looking a lot more comfortable, and they're starting to see some chemistry develop within the group. So, you know, Vilardi's a guy that's, you know, playing against secondary opponents right now or matchups, and he's taking advantage of it. I think him knowing too that Connor is back, that he's not going to get the same opportunities that he did in Connor's absence. So he's working for those opportunities. In order to work for those opportunities, you're getting those chances that he finds himself in. So if this is something that has been profitable, stay with it until it loses.
Yeah, great matchup, obviously, versus Chicago. Bottom 5 shot attempts per 60 at 5-on-5. Bottom 5 shots allowed per 60 at 5-on-5 since January 1st. There's a lot to like in this matchup. And like I said, Bedard's back, so could push Winnipeg a bit more. And that brings us to another one. We discussed it a little briefly before we went on air, but we're going over 5.5 in this game at a very reasonable minus 105. I haven't seen a lot of 5.5s at this price, like the Winnipeg over 3.5 at minus 115. But this is a spot where we're kind of expecting Chicago to score 2 goals. Offense is back. Connor Hellebuyck, and he couldn't be at that level for that long. To play that consistently, to play like a 940 save percentage, we see it with Aiden Hill. Like it's impossible basically to do it like that. Expecting Chicago to put up 2, and that means Winnipeg a shot at the empty net 4-2. What do you like about this over?
Well, the thing I like about this over is obviously what you just mentioned with Chicago. Their offense looks different and is producing more with Bedard in the lineup. But this is more of a Winnipeg conversation for me where, you know, we rode this team for 2 months, more than 2 months of them being the best defensive team in the league. Remember that streak they went on? I think it hit over 30 where they didn't give up 3 or more to any opponent.
I think Connor Hellebuyck, in his last game, he finally gave up more than 3 goals, which was a stretch of 31 straight starts.
Correct. And so, you know, you start to wonder, okay, why? And it was back-to-back games, I believe, that Hellebuyck has let that in now.
Yeah.
With, you know, the goals that he's giving up. You kind of wonder if fatigue is playing a factor right now with Hellebuyck for how many games that he's playing. I know Brossoit got the game the other night. But, you know, Winnipeg's offense looks like it's clicking as well, too. I mean, the amount of goals that they're scoring as well. The combination of both things. Look, you look at the track record of these two teams' previous times they've played. they've been under games, but I'm just looking at the now. I don't want to focus on the trends. I want to look at where both teams are right now.
Like goddamn genius. I love to hear you say that.
Right. I mean, you've taught me a little bit since we've worked together. So that's why I'm liking you over. You're getting a favorable number here at 5.5. So you're looking at a 3-2 game, maybe with an empty netter.
Right, exactly. And I mean, Winnipeg's offense, if Chicago does take the lead, Winnipeg's offense, we've seen their power play is absolutely on fire with 6 goals, I think, in their last 2 games. What do you think about Connor? Over 3.5 shots on goal, plus 130. I think right now Connor is being priced as the player he was, and which is where they get the number from.
He is
compared to what he is. I don't think they need to lean on him as much as he was as a 49 goal scorer 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm probably not jumping. I would rather take maybe Velarde to hit 4 at way better plus money than Connor.
Yeah. And so I'll give you some feedback on my end on the injury with Connor. Connor suffered an MCL injury, something I suffered when I played in my last year of professional hockey. And so he's probably come back. He did come back a little bit ahead of schedule, and kudos to him for working back from it. But in doing so, he's got to get used to playing with a brace right now. He's probably going to get used to playing with a brace, or has to play with a brace for the rest of the season. I can tell you that when I came back from that very similar injury, it took me like 2, 3, sometimes I would even suggest a month before I felt normal again. Because, when you're a guy that's as good as Connor is, you trust your feet, you trust your speed, you trust your skill. When you're not moving at that same pace that you're used to because you're limited by a brace, or you're just trying to feel normal again, now it starts to play with your head. It starts to play with your comfort zone. You start to play with your confidence of how you feel with the puck and where you feel comfortable with the puck on the ice. Are you getting on your front leg? Are you getting on your back leg? So those are the things I think I would have probably imagined that he's juggling with right now, which is a good reason why you're not seeing him play with the same confidence offensively that we're used to seeing him play with.
Yeah, just pulling up the Jets game there. That's why you see a lot of people who have ACL, MCL injuries injure the other leg because
you're favoring it.
Yeah, because you're kind of
compensating.
Exactly, but you're a little worried about putting everything on that one leg.
Yeah. And David CK07 points out in the chat that referencing my point, this last 6 games, he's only hit that total once.
Yeah, and like those 2-2, 1-2-2s, like I like a floor. Like if he's hitting 3, that's a lot closer to getting the over than hitting 2s. I don't think that's the spot where I want to see it, especially like I talked about games where you said the Chicago offense can keep this Winnipeg team engaged, but Winnipeg could run away with this game, and that you're not going to see Connor go out there and keep shooting when they're up 5-1. It's tough. And Adam Remkamp, reading my mind. Absolutely love to see it. But I wouldn't be betting anything on the Connor over 3.5 myself. But we like that over. And hopefully we can get some power play opportunities. Peter Mrazek probably back in net. Last 4 starts, 35, 38, 42, and 41 shots seen. Those are some big numbers, and 15 goals over his last 5 games. Last game, Minnesota, Edmonton, 3-pack. This one's square, you don't have to bet it now. Wait until we find out if Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is back. He didn't practice yesterday. He's still dealing with an illness. They play Calgary tomorrow, so they might leave him out for one more game in a bigger game versus Calgary. But Warren Foegele, over 2.5 shots plus money. He was playing on the line with McDavid and Hyman, and the guy finished with 4 shots, 11 shot attempts, which was the most of all the forwards. His time on ice versus his regular time on ice, up 5 minutes playing with the big boys. So there's a lot to like in there. What else were we looking at? Bouchard, over 2.5 shots on goal from Adam Renkamp, minus 120. He had 18 shot attempts in that game. We had him for an assist 2 days ago.
Really?
Yeah, 16 of those were at even strength.
Wow.
Minnesota takes penalties at a top 6 rate since January 1st. So Bouchard, 9 points, 24 shots on goal over his last 6 games. But this is the one where I need you to talk to me about. Minnesota money line plus 155. Edmonton's 4-4 since the break. Minnesota was 5-0-1 before the Winnipeg loss. Calvin Pickard is penciled in today for Edmonton. They have to play Calgary tomorrow. Hockey Night in Canada, Battle of Alberta. Is this possibly a look-ahead spot for Edmonton?
Yeah, it could be, but if you're Edmonton, can you afford a look-ahead spot considering?
Well, they're going back up.
Well, Calvin Pickard has won games for them, and really, backup or Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner hasn't really been, the same Stuart Skinner that he was during that hot streak that he found himself in, for a good 2-month stretch when they were winning 17 or 18 in a row. So I just think that, back to back, you got to play both goalies. And obviously they probably feel better knowing that Skinner will be, maybe they want to give him a day off after the last game that they played, and this was just probably what they had scheduled anyways. But for Edmonton, you can't be looking ahead. You don't want to be starting a losing streak right now, especially losing the way you did the other night in overtime to Boston. So, and credit to Minnesota. Minnesota's been coming on strong lately. Like I wouldn't be just mailing in this game. But I do like Minnesota on the road. I think they've won 5 or 6 in a row on the road. They have that confident feeling right now of playing and having success on the road. So there's value there for sure on this one, considering the struggles that Edmonton's going through themselves. And you knew they were, every time a team goes on a long winning streak like that, they have a little bit of a rut that they hit, and maybe this is it before they finally get back on track.
Boldy point parlay. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just Minnesota can just right now win games, as we saw obviously in the Vancouver game. Like they have an offense to overcome any number. We saw Edmonton. They can too, but they also were down 4-1 in that game.
Right. And then things opened up.
Exactly. No Joe Osborne again, who banged another winner.
Oh, no kidding. Joe, 2 for 2 in hockey.
Yeah. But
where's Joe? We need Joe. What's his play today?
The spirit of Joe guarding the Flames, net and OTT. Crazy win with Joe. He's back to Flames. He's back to Blue Jackets. I love him just taking it like, here's a random club. Like if he comes in, he's like, I like, I don't hope he doesn't come in and say, well, I like the Blue Jackets, but I think if we're looking at that board, Minnesota on the road at plus 155 is the best value of all the sides.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. We see the Buffalo keeps taking money, so we'll be on the right side.
What about the over in that game?
It's at 7. So that's why I kind of,
Joe, no NHL pick today, boys. Going to keep my perfect show record intact until next week.
See, that's the difference between my degeneracy and betting versus Joe Osborne.
That's a weak response, Joe.
Where Joe's
weak response.
Gonna take it easy. Gonna ride
people in here want
this weekend.
Yeah, people in here want your pick. Come on,
Need the Joe experience, absolutely. But we got a 3-pack in the late game. We don't have to stay up for another handful of West Coast games. That has kind of actually been a grind this week, especially for Carlo, who has a show at 6 a.m. and has to talk for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Oh God. Wow. But let's get this going here. We start things off on the right foot. Buffalo versus I haven't seen a bad schedule spot like this for a bad team like Columbus in a while. I knew the West Coast trip was there first game back, but then add in 3 and 4 with the West Coast trip. Return, that's a tough spot. So let's continue to ride Buffalo money line. They've been better on the road than at home. Velarde over 2.5 shots at even money in that spot. And then we're getting the over at 5.5 minus 105 in that middle game. Need Chicago to score 2, but let's be honest, Winnipeg can win that game 5-1 as well with the way the offense is clicking. And then some games in Minnesota. Game script, if it works this way, I'll be happy. Edmonton trailing, Minnesota winning, and them having to shoot with the big guns. We start off with Fogle over 2.5 shots on goal, plus 110. This will look a lot better if RNH sits. But if he does come in, I think McLeod would go down and Fogle would probably still stay in a top 6 role anyway, but better value there if RNH is out. Bouchard just continues to shoot a ton, over 2.5 shots at minus 120 on that. And then some solid plus money on the Minnesota money line, plus 155 with the Battle of Alberta looming tomorrow.
Yeah.
The battle. All right. hit that like button. If you're there for the repeat. If you scrolled all the way just to get to the end, and so yeah, snipe that back bar bunk on that like button, and let's get rolling. 3-pack. I love the 3-pack day, so let's do that right into the sunset on the weekend. Back here Wednesday, 10 a.m. for more live shows. Thanks to everybody there in the chat. Let's finish the week positively. 5 in a row. Let's go. I'm Josh.
We need it. What was the saying? What was the saying to start the show?
Winning and grinning or something.
Winning and grinning. Let's get back to that, baby.
That's exactly what it was. Let's get back to winning and grinning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll expect the T-shirt in the mail soon. Thank Bernie, winning and grinning. Let's go. Appreciate it, everybody. We'll see you back here next Wednesday.
Ciao.